Captain's Log, Stardate 1538.12. The unexplained destruction of the USS Bofin has brought my starship to the world of Ka'apuoko Lono 4, a world of incomparable beauty and tranquility. But unspeakable danger has befallen members of my crew, a deliberate act of deception by those of Captain Sullivan's missing vessel. Our Aqua Shuttle has been attacked. Communications with the Enterprise, not possible. And one of my officers now lies dead back on that hideous island of Kyun, killed in an attack by the planet's inhabitants, a people reported to be peaceful and affectionate. But where does the unpredictable and problematic Dr. Xiang Li fit into this deception? Or that of her husband, Dr. Wright, a Federation specialist on interstellar plagues? What am I to find on this Shangri-La? And just how far has the Bofin damaged the Ka'apu's way of life?
My children, since a time before, your grandfather's father's father, a glorious promise you have awaited. The ramparts of Kupaku have looked after the Ka'apus. A generosity of Rango-Ri's womb has provided seed for your fields, a shelter for all, and healing of the sick. But as of now, a new dawn rises on the land of Na'akehu. You, children in the Temple of the Jade Twins, you are as newborns, reborn from the majesty and humbling power I hold. For I give you a new covenant, a greater law, a new God.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Captain's Log, Stardate 1539.9. The Enterprise's landing party is on its second day of its exploration of Ta'aroa Island. Mr. Spock estimates we are less than 2 hours from the largest population, and it is there I expect to get answers to Captain Sullivan's deceptions.
Think I might just prescribe this ship's next shore leave here, Jim.
Has it bitten you too?
This island has indeed. That last one? The Klingons can have it.
I know what you mean. But after what we're liable to find here, don't be surprised if the Federation quarantines this world for a long time.
Where is everybody, anyway?
Spock and the anthropologist said they found some ruins. The others wanted to tag along. They won't have another chance to see them. We won't be coming back this way when we leave. If you want to catch up, they went down there.
I'm a doctor, not an archaeologist.
I'll remember that next time I'm in sickbay.
Captain, Mr. Spock and Lieutenant Oki need you at the ruins.
Is anyone hurt, Lieutenant?
No, it's something you need to see to believe. beats the world out of those heads we found.
Where did you find that machete?
Over there by that.
Please take a look.
That's not a Federation power source. Where's the energy coming from, Spock?
I think we're in for better offerings this go round.
They're playing a different tune, Lieutenant?
Yeah, something like that.
What's your professional assessment?
Their jollity indicates a freer society. A culture less restricted by sole worry of obtaining and maintaining basic needs.
That worked fine for me.
Just in case. I am breaking out my war paint.
I hardly think it necessary.
That's irony for you, Jim. A vegetarian, blasé about cannibals.
Good day to you.
I think these may have an intoxicant in them.
It will pass in a moment, Doctor. I recognize the orchids as a cousin to the Alika baxterlexis of Eli's world. Their pollen is mildly hallucinogenic, but quite harmless.
Newcomers.
What did you say back in the briefing room, Sulu? Aloha something?
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Welcome to Konakai, and may the miracles of Pupuke and the Jade Twins find you while in our land.
Peace and long life.
Lieutenant Oki, have you and Mr. Spock coordinated a plan where we should begin our search?
Since the data we've been fed's false, it's a blind guess.
Recommendations, Spock?
There is no logic I can apply to our situation that would suggest a reliable course of action.
Anyone heard of serendipity?
I am familiar with the many artistic and philosophical applications of the word, Lieutenant, but your proposal eludes me.
Useful discoveries made by accident, to let things happen as they come. Why rush things? We know this is the island and the village where our answers lay. Just relax, let it come to us.
That will never do for a Vulcan, Uhura.
Relaxing would be illogical. Dividing into smaller parties and infiltrating the villagers would be a more prudent course of action.
Look around at the size of this place. That's a lot of Ka'abus, Spock. Foot traffic seems to be culminating down there. Let's get acquainted with Shambhala.
Captain, those Ka'apus are different from those I examined on Kiyun Island.
How so?
The headhunters have, for the most part, the same genetic makeup as these people, but there's a variant in the Ta'aroans I cannot explicate.
They could simply be a different race.
They are, Mr. Spock. But it's more than that. I won't know until I get a larger sampling of this population.
That's what you're here for, Lieutenant. Something's going on down by that structure.
Can anyone hum the first few bars of Some Enchanted Evening?
Pardon me, ma'am, but what's the cause of this blowout?
Blowout?
The excitement? The music? The atmosphere? Well, it looks like you're having a mighty fine party going on.
You mean the gathering. Our leader is to provide new commandments, to guide all into a new dawn of prosperity and enlightenment.
That sounds exciting.
Why have you not heard of this?
We have just arrived on Ta'aroa.
Welcome. Your clan's features are unfamiliar.
What island do you call home?
We came from Kiyun.
Perhaps Ta'aroa is not the best.
My friend misspoke. He intended to say we were just on Kiyun. We did not find the island relaxing.
we're from a land much further away. You probably haven't heard of it.
She is to be crowned Na'akehu's new empress.
Fascinating. A unification of political authority and divinity.
A dangerous mixture, Mr. Spock?
Captain, maybe I should go and secure a base camp for the evening.
Let's give this some time, Matthews. It's not every day we get to witness an ascension.
Forget what I said about shore leave. When we get back to the Enterprise, I'm putting in a retirement notice. I'm planning to set up a resort here. Jim, that is Dr. Ziyang Li.
Your service to the twins would be better spent in meditation for the day's remainder. Do not disturb Pupukea further. Ridiculous. I am a god. So what if someone sees me? Shaozite.
Verified.
Display results on main viewer. Thulian. Execute algorithm. Thul Shi.
Process complete.
Imperative results. Impossible.
Angkutukeren. Outland. Angkutukeren. Outland.
Show on monitor. Locate.
Mir is Langvelling. Morea.
Close view. Distance from shore.
Stunnaik et nu.
Scan and identify object.
Können Sie lernen auch if late if?
No, repeat.
Können Sie lernen auch?
In English?
Submerged object is a Federation class in Aqua Shuttle.
It's about time you should come looking. Are there any life forms aboard?
The craft is unoccupied at this time.
Computer, activate particle weapon and lock onto craft.
I managed to get one translator circuit to power up with the parts of the wrecked communicators, Mr. Spock.
How much longer before we can contact the Enterprise?
I will know momentarily if we will have a single working communicator.
What the hell has Xiang done to her skin, Doctor? No records indicated that appearance.
Have you never been around Thulians?
Never. All I know of them is that they've been turned down twice for Federation membership.
What about you?
I have had the opportunity to meet several Thulians in diplomatic functions, but am at a loss to explain Dr. Xiang's unique manifestation.
Is it makeup?
No. Thulian skin has a layer of biochromes that gives him the ability of mimicry. It's like a chameleon on a leaf, or an octopus taking on surrounding coral.
A most remarkable evolutionary development. I am aware of only one other humanoid species with that capacity, an extinct race known as the Peridians.
But they aren't polymorphic.
Well, they can't alter their structure. But under the right conditions, one could be right next to you, and you'd never know it. I had a patient do this little camouflage trick in the middle of surgery. Almost put a scalpel through a clavicle.
Most unsettling.
Then we'll have to be particularly careful when making our introduction.
Captain, we must be prepared that Dr. Xiang is not the sole survivor. It is logical to expect the inevitability others are among us as well. There will undoubtedly be reluctance from her fellow crewmen to leave.
And how about the Ka'apus? After that reception tonight, I don't think that they'll be too happy to see us beam her away.
That's why getting one of those communicators working is so important. We can't think about making a move until reinforcements arrive. Not with those Ka'apus worked up over her.
I believe we are ready, Captain. Spock to Enterprise. Spock to Enterprise.
This is just fantastic. Cannibals. A psychotic Thulian. And now no way to contact our ride out of here. What's next? An angry volcano god?
There is still the Aqua Shuttle's onboard communicator.
But that's a 2-day hike back.
Hold your fire. It's Sulu.
Hello to you too.
You really ought to let people in on your whereabouts.
And miss the warm welcome? It's every bit as bad as you thought, sir. And Dr. McCoy was right about Xiang. Absolute blind ambition. Prime directive be damned, she's got something planned. She's totally unhinged.
Given 300 years, she could have taught Mussolini a thing or two.
I could have told you that, Jim.
What do you think she's doing, Sulu?
We'll find out soon. Dr. Xiang's exposing the Ka'apus to Federation technology every which way from Sunday. We can bet her scheme involves this new magic.
Sulu, the communicators are a lost cause. I'm sending you and Matthews back to the cook in the morning. You're to use the onboard comm and race the Enterprise. Get Mr. Scott to send down a dozen security officers. We're taking this tin god to the scrapyard.
Captain Kirk, may I speak with you?
What's on your mind?
What's happened here? What's about to happen? There's never been a recorded incident since the Prime Directive was enacted where a survey team has done something as destructive as this.
Would you care for some? You mean making themselves gods to these Ka'apus?
I'm ashamed of my profession. I don't know how to rectify it. Starfleet doesn't prepare us for fixing this because it's not supposed to happen, ever.
No one's hanging this on yours or anyone's neck other than Dr. Xiang. Starfleet anthropologists have a sterling reputation, and nothing done here will change that. You heard that tirade she spewed tonight.
That's what makes it so absolutely abhorrent. I think the bloody fool actually believes what she's telling them.
You're in time for a classic McCoy breakfast.
What are you frying? It smells like lobsters and bananas.
Matthews snared a couple of crab-like things before he and Sulu took off. Oh, it'll be delicious. Come and have some.
Rough night. Catch me at lunch. You got something for a hangover?
You and Lieutenant Oki finished off that jug of tonic, huh? Well, I'll get you what I gave him.
Where's our anthropologist, Spock?
After surrendering to the doctor's patent obscenity, Lieutenant Oki requested an opportunity to collect botanical samples for Lieutenant Sulu.
You should have let me give you one of those tranquilizers instead of heading that firewater.
If I took one of those pills of yours, I'd wake up feeling worse than now. Oki and I had some things to talk about. It's hard to do that over one of these.
Oh.
The lieutenant's taking Dr. Xiang's actions here personally.
Oki is a young officer, Captain. I think we're all feeling like this might reflect on Starfleet, too.
The damage to Starfleet will be judged on our effectiveness to re-establish the natural order of the Ka'apus. But to do so, we must first...
We're not going to make any move until Sulu and Matthews return with reinforcements.
Yes, Captain, I know.
We're not going to hurt you. What's your name, son?
I am Omao. Which one of you is Dr. McCoy?
Who's surprising who now?
How do you know who we are?
I was sent to get you.
By whom?
There is one of your clan that has become injured. You must come before it is too late.
I'll ask again, who is this injured man?
It's no use, Jim. He doesn't have the skills to use our vocabulary. How much farther, Omau?
The other side of the hill, not much farther. The injured one's through there.
Crewman, where are you?
Sulu! Over here.
Who is it? Matthews?
Okay, sir. To your left. I'm on the ground.
Hold still, Lieutenant.
Phew! What's in that stuff?
Stagnant rainwater with plant and animal remains.
It is called keike.
Acid burns. This is bad. There are toxins running all through his body. I don't have an antidote here to treat something like this. If I don't do something soon, he'll lose the leg. Or worse.
Is there anyone in your village that knows of this plant?
We have one that knows these things.
Well, damn it, boy. Go get him.
Bring him to our camp.
It's more than an acid burn. It's concentrated enzymes. Something akin to Regulan centipede venom. Breaks down animal tissue incredibly fast.
Is he able to be moved?
Well, he'll have to be, and the quicker the better.
We're getting you back to camp. You're to stay calm. That's an order.
Yes, sir.
That'll help with the pain.
I think I can stand now.
I can't give you another shot for the pain until I know what we're dealing with. You'll have to hang in there, Lieutenant.
I'll give it a try, Doc.
Where's our island friend?
On his way.
Captain, I see Omao. He's brought someone with him.
Dr. Wright? I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise.
You're not surprised we know who you are?
Should I be?
That is not the reaction we anticipated. You undoubtedly must realize the seriousness of the situation of which you have placed yourself.
Violation of the Prime Directive?
My first officer, Mr. Spock.
And Dr. Leonard McCoy. Yes, Leonard, I remember you. Probably not as much as Lee. How have you been?
Doing well.
If we're through with the introductions?
My young friend tells me you have someone injured by a Kaiki. Nasty Brothers. How serious is it?
Pretty bad off.
This wound will go necrotic soon. When can you get him to your ship?
Not for some time. You'll have to be treated here.
Well, the Kaopus have a native treatment for some of this. A little slow, but it might assist. We'll have to get that leg to breed immediately if it is to be saved.
Wright seems to think he's in the clear.
Is it safe to throw your friend in leg irons now?
Give him a few minutes. We talked, and I think he knows what's coming. Any word from Sulu?
No, sir.
We shouldn't expect one for another day at best.
Try to get some rest. I'll be back to check on you. And now I am under arrest, no?
There's little I can do until I contact my ship. But now that we know you're here...
And not on the Bofin?
What do you know about the Bofin?
I know that if we return, a court-martial won't erase all that we've done. No crime that great could be so easily washed away.
How many of you are here?
18, including my wife and myself.
Dear God! You're saying over 140 men and women were lost out there?
Murdered. We murdered them.
Are we to understand there was a mutiny against Captain Sullivan?
A coup d'etat.
Perhaps you should explain what happened.
When we arrived on the Na'okehu Islands, no officer was prepared for what we found. The Kaopus welcomed us generously, offering anything we imagined a paradise could provide. Hospitality, beautiful people, total absence of war and famine, and eagerness to learn about whom we were. Captain, the Ta'aroan's sexual appetite makes the Daltons appear absolutely Victorian.
We have noticed a peculiar predilection on their part.
Yes, I suppose Vulcans might.
Not all the Kaopus are the same, are they?
I see you've met those on Kaiun Island.
We followed your roadmap.
I'm sorry about that little dishonesty. I had nothing to do with it. There were many in the crew that suspected Starfleet might eventually come, and they reasoned it best if an impression were given we'd perished on some other island, succumbed to the elements, as it were.
Those elements got one of my men killed!
A tactical oversight, I am sure. It did not take long for the survey team to yield to this planet's magic. Kept from our captain or his first mate, 2 of his men here had fallen in love with Tauroran women. Before any talk of mutiny started, each had decided to stay, regardless. Quietly, it became evident that we did not want to return to the Bofin, but the captain would not allow anyone to remain. Talk of mutinying did not take long to surface.
How did a handful of bookworms wrestle control of a starship from her crew?
The same as anyone might, Captain, at the barrel of a gun. The survey team returned to the Bofin on a scheduled transport, and in one titanic instant, one that I'm sure tacticians at Starfleet might be proud of if they were on the proper side, persuaded the crew to turn over the controls.
Persuaded? You mean hijacked, don't you?
As you will. Supplies and personal effects were removed, and the ship was programmed for autoflight by a medtech with a cursory knowledge of a navigation con. The warp drive was put into imbalance and sent into the system's asteroid belt. 71 seconds after the last crewman materialized on the surface, the Bofin struck an asteroid.
Starships cannot go into warp within a star system. Intense gravimetric fields generated by warp drives distort Keplerian motion in stellar bodies. It is highly probable that a starship with the power of the Bofins could alter a planet's orbit.
Or just a couple of wandering asteroids.
Fascinating.
Your green-blooded relatives? They're vindicated, Mr. Spock.
What are your men talking about?
Your efforts to scuttle the ship. It didn't go into the asteroid belt, it went over it. The Bowfin pulled 2 large asteroids out before the engine went critical. With those 2 giant rocks floating around out there unpredictably, you may have condemned your friends here to an eventual extinction.
While I do not have the slightest inkling of how to pilot a starship, I do know that the probability of any of those bodies out there hitting this planet in my lifetime, or 1,000, to be exceedingly remote. I insist that you and your men leave Ka'opu Oku Lono as soon as you can and report nothing to your Starfleet or the Council.
Doing so will accomplish nothing. Eventually, other surveys will come, and conflict on the islands will again rise, logically, to the Ka'apu's detriment.
Captain Kirk, I concede the way the mutineers handled the Bofin's destruction was unacceptable. I cannot undo what we have done, nor would I. But we will not return to the Federation. Ka'opu Oku Lono is our home now. Go or stay, but be warned. Siang has the power to stop anyone, even your starship.
It appears the mutineers are willing to do almost anything to remain on the island. They should be treated as dangerous.
I don't take lightly to Wright's threats being leveled against my crew.
If Dr. Siang has the ability he purports, it is in both parties' interest to neutralize her and her followers as quickly as possible. I speculate the damage she has done will be irredeemable if allowed to proceed much further.
Agreed.
I am finding the doctor's dietary selections restrictive.
McCoy's cooking getting to you too?
I request an opportunity to find a produce merchant while we are here. I could barter for a wider selection.
Palace guards tell of a terrific storm coming through the Kooke Valley and will be upon us by midnight, mistress.
Mae, who's that man?
He is one I am not familiar with. His garments do not hold the pattern of a clan.
Does he not resemble one of Siang's people? He enchants me. Bring him to me, before the storm drives him home. Enter.
Captain James Kirk.
Ka puleo o mei nui konakai.
Your Highness.
That is an official title. This is not a formal audience. For the time, you may call me Hele. I spotted you going in and out of our markets. Who were you looking for?
Must I have been looking for someone and not just window shopping?
You weren't interested in the merchant's wares. That told me you were searching for someone, not something. Keptan.
Call me James.
My servant said your name was Keptan.
It's a title. It's what I do.
Ah, Keptan of what?
A ship. I command a large sailing vessel.
Ha ha. You mean a Kaui? Then I shall call you Kaui James. I do not recognize your clan's marking. What island do your men call home?
We sailed from a distant island. It is not in the Naakehu nation.
My people draw their lives from the seas and are great navigators. We are unfamiliar with any islands that are not Naakehu. It must be very far away.
Yeah, the trip took quite a while.
A ship that makes a voyage as great as yours must require many sailors. Tell me, of those that labor on your vessel, are only men allowed, or are women permitted to sail?
A perceptive question. No, many of our women have chosen to make sailing their livelihoods.
For my people, women are forbidden to take upon the waters as men do. The act is said to invite misfortune from the gods. Which way is your island, Kaui James? Show me this great island. Point to it.
I can't. We're not facing east.
I would still like to see this ship you command, one where women and men are treated as equals.
You are a very curious princess.
Many things gain my interest, Kaui James. This sailing vessel of yours, did it bring us Siang?
We thought you called her Pupukea.
She calls herself that. I do not. She uses the old legends as a Kuhn cannibal would his axe to flay the legitimacy from my people's dignity and devour it. I ask you once again, are you responsible for unleashing that monstrous beast upon my people?
No. We're here to take her and all those she brought to your islands back.
Back to where? To that distant land you claim to be from?
Yes.
Not far enough, I should think. What is she to your people that they would be troubled by the harm done here?
There is one in my group that knows Yang from a time in his youth. He thinks she is capable of overthrowing your rule.
Little doubt that is her intention. Siang's deceit as Pupukea is her method of doing so. If removed by your men, how do we know she will not return with revenge?
I assure you, once taken from your nation, neither Xiang nor any of her followers can ever return.
Then she is to be put to death.
It's not my people's custom.
Give her to me, and I will have my warriors sacrifice her to the gods on Ba'a.
We respect your laws and beliefs, and I'm under orders to protect them to my death. But my men and I have one mission. Take her back.
Why should your people care about mine?
In the past, we have learned that manipulating the authority of other nations leads to horrible consequences. We do this so we can understand you and your people better. It is our law called the Prime Directive.
An honorable task, Kaui James.
I'm sure my father would approve of your task as much as I do.
Your father? I thought you were the ruler of the Na'kehu.
I shall be one day, with he who I choose to marry, unless Siang is successful in returning the Akis to a theocracy. For hundreds of years, the temple priests had ruled, indoctrinating all Ka'apus with manufactured superstitions, driving archaic beliefs that guaranteed war and ensured the Akis' position as leaders. 40 years ago, my father united our 12 islands after generations of war. He brought us out of a dark age. Reform of the outdated commandments has made Ku'u beloved by almost all. Your people's Pra'im Directive will be well received, I think.
The priests must resent Ku'u, and maintaining the god Pupukea will allow them to take over.
I wish my people could see her cunning as easily as you.
What happened to this place?
Looks like a hurricane hit, but we didn't have any forecasts for tropical disturbances in this hemisphere.
Well, I'm glad we weren't camped here when it hit. Hey, Sulu, check this out.
That's nice and unusual. Volcanic islands rarely produce minerals like that. Let's see what kind of gem you got. Hold on here. I'm detecting low-level radiation. How's that possible? This is trinitite.
I'm not familiar with the stuff.
It's a mineral produced from silica.
If you haven't noticed, this place is made up of nothing but sand.
Trinitite is only formed in a nuclear blast.
That's impossible. How can that have been produced on this island?
I don't know, but radioactive decay says it's recent.
Sulu, I think your tricorder needs servicing.
Maybe so, but here's another piece. Let me see your finger, Matthews. Same thing. A lot of the dust on these plants and rocks contain it. Don't get your dandus in a bunch. It's pretty harmless unless we start ingesting the stuff.
That might not be as difficult as you think. Look, this place is littered with the stuff. I think we ought to get to the shuttle, do our thing, and get out of here, Sulu.
Good idea. We left her down that way.
Are you certain this is where we should be?
Yeah? There are the shoals I maneuvered over. Aqua Shuttle Cook, initiate auto recovery. Aqua Shuttle Cook, initiate auto recovery.
Where's the Aqua Shuttle?
It's not there. I'm picking up unspent fuel dispersed in our area. It's here and here. It's over that hill, too. The cook's been obliterated.
It blew up?
Vaporized. This beach is littered with microscopic duratanium from the hull and plasma residue from a warp engine. By the look of that crater out there, something hit the cook hard.
There's your explanation for the Trinitite. But what could have done it? The indigenous people have nothing. And the mutineers, well, even if they use disruptors, they aren't nuclear. At best, it would have left debris.
No, I don't get any kind of antimatter residue. That also leaves out photon torpedoes. My guess is it's a particle weapon of some kind.
Those have a very limited reach. It'd have to strike at close range. An armed craft in the vicinity?
Maybe. Or a hidden weapons array.
Either alternative, we've got to inform the captain and Mr. Spock immediately. The Gabus are in a lot of danger.
King Ku'u requests audience in private with Pupukea.
He does not have an appointment. Send him away.
If you desire an audience with Pupukea, it is required for all to designate an appropriate offering while petitioning such.
Ziang! Ziang!
Pupukea is not to be addressed directly.
You are familiar with protocol, Ku'u. It was the same in your court. Your questions are now passed through us.
I would have to believe she is a god before that is to happen.
I am a god. You just need a little more convincing.
Even with that trick, there is no way you can convince me of a divinity. And my people will not buy it either, Ziang.
She is Pupukea.
Enough of these preposterous games, Ileu.
But they have. Look around, Ku'u. They simply adore me, throwing themselves at the feet of a god.
Already a god? I thought you were a simple demigod, Pupukea.
In for a penny, in for a pound, I always say.
I do not know the meaning of such words, but I suspect they mean a god from Va'a.
Heaven? Hell? What difference does it make, as long as you're a god at the end of the day?
Oko, I think you need to call for Teote. Your convert has contracted swamp fever. She is delirious.
What did you come here for, Ku'u?
This game is ridiculous. Ziang requested I come to her.
Honestly, Ku'u, I only want what's best for my children, and that is me.
What is best for everyone is for you to return home, to the Federation island that sent you here.
Perhaps in time. But today I rule this island. It would serve us both if we put aside this animosity for the time being, Ku'u. Those that you spoke of, when they come, may conquer even me. If so, neither of us will see the Ka'apus thrive again. I offer a truce between the Akis and the House of Ku'u. I shall make no further claim on your rule.
What?
That was not our agreement.
How do you know I will do the same?
You haven't the forces. Now dream.
I shall find out all I can about these people you speak of, and if they come to destroy my kind. If you are lying, I shall personally take you to Kiun and see you fed to Chief Ingaroa. Your Tane is as bitter as you, Siang.
I don't think you'll be bothered by it too much longer.
Mistress Hale! Your father is dreadful.
What about the king? What has happened, Mai?
He's gone. King Ku'u is dead.
Dead? What are you babbling about? How has this happened to my father? Are you certain?
He returned from a meeting at the Temple of the Jade Twins.
There. What was he doing at the temple?
I do not know.
Do not wait for me to wring the information from your throat, woman. Tell me what has happened.
The king returned to the palace after speaking with the Akis, complaining of discomfort and a fever. His servant put him to bed, sending me to fetch the royal Teote. By the time the Teote and I returned, your father was gone.
Where is my father now?
He lies in his apartment, with staff and the Teote offering prayers.
Father!
Hele, what has happened?
I do not know, Minister.
I trust the presence of the temple's emissaries are here to pay respect to Ku'u's daughter?
From this day forward, the Temple Akis will co-rule. The nation of Nakiu is restored to her ancient organization of morality and canon.
What is this insolence?
Devotion and dogma will replace Ku'u's assertion and false secularism. The orthodox will of Kupaku and Rongo Ri has returned.
Mistress, no one called them. I swear, there was not enough time for anyone to inform the Akis. Your father passed only a moment before I came to you.
How did they know, Your Highness? How?
Ship's log, star date 1541.1. Lieutenant Commander Scott recording in the absence of Captain Kirk. The Enterprise has completed retrieving the last remains of the Bowfin's crew near the asteroid belt. We are returning to Ka'apuoko Lono 4 to rendezvous with the captain's party as per his prearranged orders. Mr. Hanley, time until our arrival.
7 hours, 32 minutes, Mr. Scott.
Hail the Captain Kirk's party.
Aye, sir. Mr. Scott, I've tried all the communicator channels, but I'm not receiving a response.
Are we still out of range?
No, sir. But there's still a lot of background radiation from the Bowfin's antimatter pods.
Could be. Try raising the cook. Mr. Hanley, what's Katapu time at the captain's landing site?
1400 hours, Mr. Scott.
It's the afternoon then. Maybe there's no one at the shuttle until the evening.
I can't establish a direct link with the cook.
Well, keep trying. I'll be in the hangar taking another look at the wrecked warp drive. Call me as soon as you're able to reach Captain Kirk.
Move it along, brown nose.
Your Eminence? The Order would like your illumination before...
How would it have been handled before I arrived?
I do not understand this apathy.
I find this bickering infinitely tiresome. An endless litigation of irrelevancy, a fight over minutiae every time a council is called. You debate the smallest of testaments while the superior portion of authority it holds slips through your grasp and falls back into the House of Ku'u. All that's accomplished is a headache. I did not return the Akis to power only to have this. I didn't kill the son of a bitch just to hear a bunch of bureaucrats debate.
Murder? We believed Ku'u's passing was a natural consequence.
What was your proviso?
The Order would like to.
For God's sake, don't start over. Keep going.
We must unite. All of us must unite. They will not know it is us until it is too late. Forget the Holy Doctrines of Torah.
An absorbing conversation. Submit a report tomorrow, Oko. Carry on.
This is outrageous.
Who does she think she is?
You say the beach is littered with this substance, Mr. Sulu.
Yes, Mr. Spock, and up into the hills.
We found the first sign of this stuff about a kilometer before we hit the beach.
What's its half-life?
Depending on the isotopes present, approximately 60 years. While not lethal with brief contact, we cannot leave the substance for the Ka'apus to exploit. The area will have to be decontaminated before we leave orbit.
Sulu, any indication where the weapon was fired?
No, but I doubt it could have come from a ship in orbit.
Then how about a ship tucked away on the planet?
It is possible. A vessel with a tractor beam or deflector shield technology would also explain the abilities we've observed Dr. Siang demonstrating.
But where would she hide a ship?
In order for Dr. Siang to access it as readily as she does, the weapon would have to be relatively close.
Within walking distance, Mr. Spock?
A logical surmise.
But we've been over every square meter of this village, Captain. There's no place to hide even a shuttlecraft.
How's the patient, Doctor?
About the same. But he's got to get to the Enterprise soon for better care. Where's the Aqua Shuttle?
Sulu and Matthews couldn't return in it. They found the cook destroyed.
You mean we're stranded?
Pessimism, Doctor, is quite irrational. The landing party's situation is not as dire as it appears.
First we lose the communicators. Now the shuttle. No Oscar Wilde would have a heyday with our predicament, Spock.
From your emotionally unnecessary reaction, I suspect the flamboyant author could take a lesson or two from you, Dr. McCoy. The Enterprise is scheduled to return in less than a day.
Captain!
I think the Bowfin beat Mr. Scott.
We come unarmed, Captain Kirk.
Put away your phaser, Matthews.
I'm Adrian Gordons, and this is Ensign Catherall. We understand you've spoken with Dr. Wright.
He tended to one of our injured crewmen. What is this about, Lieutenant?
We've come to discuss turning ourselves in.
I assure you, Lieutenant, when we leave here, you and your fellow men will be going with us.
Did he know what we've done?
Dr. Wright told us about the coup.
You will be charged with mutiny of a Starfleet vessel.
I see.
The murder of fellow officers and the destruction of a starship is not something the captain can overlook. You will have to stand trial.
Captain, what we did was wrong. We've talked it over amongst ourselves. We want to go back and face the consequences.
But first we want to make right what has been done here.
And how do you suppose going about doing so?
I'm not an anthropologist, Mr. Spock, but I suggest starting with Dr. Siang.
Do you know how our shuttle was destroyed?
We might have a suspicion.
Would either of you two care to share that suspicion with us?
Shortly after the Bowfin arrived on Ka'apuoko Lono 4, Lieutenant Commander Callis and a couple of his men discovered an abandoned pyramid up in the mountains.
We came across it too, a few days ago.
The Ka'apus hadn't used it in over a millennium. Before Callis and his men could understand what the structure contained, they were murdered by Dr. Siang.
Why would someone murder 3 men over a primitive archaeological discovery?
It wasn't built by the Ka'apus. It contains alien technology.
Fascinating. Have you seen this place yourself, Lieutenant?
No, sir, but Ensign Catherall has.
Dr. Siang took me up there one morning. She needed help identifying some very old plant spores and seeds stockpiled inside. She threatened to kill me if I told anyone about what I saw.
What exactly did you see?
For the most part, the facade doesn't betray what's on the inside. It's a dark labyrinth of corridors and small rooms cut from stone. In all regards, made by Mesolithic islanders, except for the fact the place is lit with electroluminescent paneling, and every stone door is operated by actuated servos. I wasn't even allowed past the second level. Knowing that I'm a botanist, Dr. Siang had me examine a selection of the surviving seeds. She took me to a chamber where the plant specimens were kept. At some point in its past, the builders had been collecting and cataloging flora.
Someone? You mean others in your expedition?
No, sir. The Peridians.
If this structure does turn out to be built by the Peridians, it could provide Federation archaeologists with a great many unanswered questions.
The life the Ka'apus have is honest and simplistic. There's no pretense with them.
Xiang's twisted it into a nightmare.
How sad for you that she's raining on your parade.
It's not like that. For your information, most of the crew that came down here have taken Ka'apus for wives.
As a scientist aboard a starship, you have missed the entire purpose of Starfleet. The inhabitants of Ka'apuoko Lono 4 must be left alone to develop as they should in a natural course without interference. That is the Prime Directive.
We found something rather fascinating in the Ka'apus, Mr. Vulcan.
That's enough insubordination, mister.
To be perfectly honest, I don't think there's much more insubordination we can do.
You don't get it, do you? You and your starship won't be able to remove Dr. Siang.
You're misguided, Ensign. If you believe the Federation will allow her to remain, she must be taken back and...
No. She's insane. Captain, you've seen her. She honestly believes she is a god. Dr. Siang will never let that happen. She's made contingencies to kill every living person on the islands if she's forced off.
I suspect she has some kind of energy weapon that can take out just about anything put in its sights. She'll use it on the Ka'apus.
Where precisely can this fantastic device be found?
In the alien temple.
You've got to contact your ship.
Our communicators were destroyed on Kiyun Island. Is it possible someone from the Bofin kept theirs?
Dr. Siang did. She needed it just in case something didn't go right and one of us would need returned to the Bofin at the last minute. She keeps it in her lab at the alien temple.
How do we get inside?
Don't know. She made sure I couldn't find the entrance.
But Dr. Wright can get you in.
Display alien craft in orbit. Access Federation database. The Enterprise. I should have known Starfleet wouldn't deliberate for long. Lock onto craft. Set primary target. Track. Allocate secondary target. Konakai. Transfer firing control to personal interlink. Maximum yield.
Captain, I believe I found it.
Did you bring the key?
It operates on a rudimentary pressure mechanism.
A most effective camouflage.
How many levels does this place have?
4, plus another for the weapon.
Where would Dr. Siang likely store the communicator?
In one of 3 labs on the upper levels.
Spock, take the one above here. Wright, you've got the next. I'll take number 4 and the weapons tower.
Proximity alert. Unauthorized life forms on lower level.
No one's had a chance to brief you on what to expect.
No, sir.
According to Mr. Spock, those on Kiyun Island are a welcoming lot. You shouldn't be getting much problem from them. Do everything possible to refrain from using your phasers, Lieutenant. But find the captain and his party as quickly as you can. No sightseeing, and no carousing with the lasses. I want to check in every 30 minutes. Mr. Kyle, commence beam down on my next signal.
Aye, sir.
My selective dampening field works inside as well as out, Captain. Why are you not off my planet?
Before I can leave, you're going to have to convince me why this place is yours. Without a better reason, you can't expect me to just hand over the Ka'apus. Why are you so engrossed with these people?
What makes them special? Look.
Huh. I'm a starship captain, not a geneticist.
The top sequence is a sample I took from one of the mummies entombed here, a Paridian. It's over 1,500 years old.
And the others?
The middle one is from me. We're the same species, Captain.
That's impossible. They've been extinct for centuries.
Yes, they were extinct elsewhere. But some survived here. And the third sample? Taken from a Ka'apu woman?
Half her DNA carries Paridian characteristics.
Incredible, isn't it? The Ka'apus are half Paridians. They came to help the Ka'apus survive when the planet was in danger of dying. When they made things worse, many chose to return to home, but some remained. The Paridians are my ancestors, and they intermixed with the Ka'apus. The islanders believe the Paridians to be gods, with their knowledge and technology. By right of succession, I am their god.
You're no one's god!
Captain, have you managed to locate Dr. Siang?
Yes. Where's Wright?
He is searching the other side of the structure.
I don't trust him around his wife, Spock. Stay here. See if you can get that weapon deactivated. Another disruptor? This is part of the reactor. Siang, it's over. Oh!
You have no idea how tiring this has become. I thought I made it perfectly clear how I felt about the Federation interpreting my presence here. Now I will have to show them all. Return to primary target agenda.
You know you can't fire that in here. Not around the plasma. If you miss, we'll both go up.
Then you better come out.
Primary targeting system now locked on to orbiting starship.
Energize particle weapon. Discharge when ready.
Confirmed. 50 seconds to discharge.
Captain, I suggest you end this.
40 seconds. Seconds.
Forget it, Siang. With or without the Enterprise, Starfleet will be back. We intend to preserve the Pride Directive.
20 seconds.
Have it any way you like, but I'll kill you too eventually.
Did instruct me to find a way in deactivating the weapon.
Remarkable timing, Mr. Spock. Remind me to buy you a pocket watch. Kirk to Enterprise?
We were getting a wee bit concerned, Captain. You haven't given a report in several days. I was just about to send down a security detail to your last coordinates.
I'd hold off on that little spree, Scotty. We'll explain later.
Is everything all right?
Things are coming back to normal down here.
Perhaps it would be wise if Mr. Scott sent down a few more communicators, just in case something happens to this one.
Did you hear that, Mr. Scott?
Aye. But what happened to the ones that went down with you, men?
That will be an interesting report.
Captain, Lieutenant Oki just beamed back to the Enterprise with the last of the Bofin crew. He says they've finished up all their personal matters here with the Ka'apus.
Where's Mr. Scott?
About a kilometer. That way. He's powering down the reactors.
Thank you, Lieutenant. You can transport back whenever you're ready.
Is this the right thing, Jim? Do we have the last word in taking all that away from the Ka'apus?
What do you mean?
Isn't it us who are now violating the Prime Directive? This building belongs to them. Shouldn't they be given a chance to learn from it?
I must disagree with the doctor.
What a surprise.
It was the ancient Peridians who interfered with the natural development of Ka'apuroko Lono 4. Rather at a detriment, I might add. The Federation is simply assuring their society is put back on a natural course.
Are we always going to disagree like this, Mr. Spock?
As long as your arguments are filled with emotional illogic.
Should be a beauty, Captain. 'Tis an awful shame to leave her. What we could learn from it.
Someone else's textbook, Mr. Scott.
Aye, that she is.
Mr. Scott, who's running the ship?
Didn't know, Captain. I've been down here for 2 days.
I heard Lieutenant Oki returned a while back with the crew from the Bofin.
Without one of my command officers up there? Last time all those mutineers were left on a starship, look what happened. Kirk to Enterprise.
Enterprise here.
Mr. Farrell, beam us up. Immediately.